I know. This partner for too long.
So what this project is, it started in June last year when staff went to city council and said, our downtown urban renewal district is going to expire, and you can let it expire, or you can amend it and use it to fund different activities. But what we recommend is we actually step back and think about what downtown needs. What are the downtown, what's downtown has gone through a huge shift because of the pandemic. Downtown has always been fragile, and we've huge amount of improvements have been made over the last 15 years. A lot of stuff. And so it's a different place. And I think we're facing different problems than we did this time in 2019. And so I said, let's go and talk to the community and see what needs to change about downtown, what needs to be improved, what's good, what's bad in downtown. And then we'll take a look at that giant list of things. Is urban renewal maybe a good tool for, maybe not? And then we'll come back to you and say, this is what we learned. Here's some ideas on whether or not urban renewal will be a good thing. So we are due to go back to City Council in January on this. So we have been very busy since June. Really, we didn't do much in July because there was this like world athletic event. They kept us really busy, and honestly, we didn't touch this during that. So after that, in August, we spent a lot of time reviewing existing documents, double-lit review of existing documents, national trends. In September, we did a lot of stakeholder interviews. Some of you may have been interviewed for that. I know you were. And what we did in that process was to understand what our vision, what the vision is for downtown, and what are the problems that we're currently facing. And from that process, we identified 4 key priorities for the public safety and social services. We combined into a single bucket. We heard that over and over and over. Events and programming, commercial activity, and then housing for households across the income. And so that's what we pulled out of the first initial. What was the third one? Sorry. The third was commercial activity. So, and in October, we held 4 different focus groups. We did one on Zoom. We did 3 in person. We had we did one that was focused on the BIPOC community. We had so much interest. We were only going to hold 3, and then we had a 4th. And with those in the focus groups, we brainstormed ideas to address the problem. And then in November, we had it was in November. It's still November, isn't it? It's still.
It's just for a couple more hours.
Yeah. 4 hours ago. Wait a minute, what's going on here? So in November, we held a big open house over at the farmers market. It was open to the whole community. We had 120 people show up and to sort of help us identify the priorities around the different brainstorm ideas. And then we also have a survey online that closes Sunday night. We just got it translated into Spanish. There's a little bit of a try to do. And so I don't have a direct URL, but if you go to the city's website,
I have posted it on our Facebook page.
Okay, there's like, it's right there, you click on it. It's very high level, and it's basically like what. So we've collected all of this information. Now we have December to sift through it all and figure out what are the downtown priorities and implement to achieve those priorities. December, of course, comes the big holiday at the end of it, so we'll see how it goes. We're going to go to council either January 11th or January 25th. Our fingers crossed it's January 25th.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Oh my gosh. It's like, because we have to get materials to the city manager's office 2 weeks before, and the due date is like December 28th. Nobody's even going to read it December 28th. Come on. So we'll see where that goes. And so what we're going to say in January when we go to city council is this whole process, and we learned that safety is a top priority for the community. And more housing is a top priority for the community, and more commercial activity. It's interesting from the open house, everything that was out there was a top priority.
Yeah.
We had the categories of like urgent, in the long term, or never. You didn't see never, but it was something nicer than that. And everything, like people put all their dots in urgent, or everything everything
Do
is
it all now.
urgent, yeah. And a lot of it, so we're community development. And and public safety is a huge part of this. And so when we go to council, we're gonna say, like, this is what we learned, and that these are all of the top priorities. And then we're gonna talk about what the community development division can do, this little group of policy do. And one of the things our division does is we implement the 2 urban renewal districts. So we're gonna carve off, it's a time-sensitive issue. If we don't amend the urban renewal plan, it will sunset. And so it would be better to make an active decision, if you're gonna sunset it, make that decision, and let it happen on the side. So that is the critical path in January. Even though and so we're, right now, we have a 2-hour meeting last night. How do we put all of this together? Because all of these topics, but we kind of need to focus on this one subset because it is this time critical question. And so that's what we've learned and where we are, and what we'll sort of starting to narrow down now is that so urban renewal is simply it's a way to shift taxes from one taxing district to another taxing district and to focus that revenue on a single small geographic area. With 2 urban renewal districts in Eugene, downtown makes up one, and then the riverfront area the other. And they, just by happenstance, they're both coming to the end of their natural lives. But it's just coincidence that they're both there, so we're going to be dealing with is they're very useful tools. Things like police officers. And so it's a good way for it's typically used to fund way to incentivize private development, which then thereby increases the property tax base. And so we've used it in Eugene. We've used it for a lot of public projects, the library and the farmers market. And those really bring people downtown, but they specifically aren't. I think you can see other improvements downtown. One of the you see things happen because of other investments. I think just hotel across the private development city didn't do anything other than permit it, and I put them in there without other incentives that have happened around it. And so that's how urban is. We were in this meeting we had last night, because public safety is such an issue, and I know it's not like you see in my division, like we don't know nothing. And so, but I know that part of the problem is that they struggle to hire a police officer that is everywhere. And so then there's other things that we can do for public safety, and you're actually everybody's favorite expert on it, your program on environmental design. And so that is what are other investments we make in public spaces? We heard from a lot of people, it was one focus group that I sat in. Lights. I walked here from the atrium and I chose what feels safer. I know what feels safer. Don't ask me. I just, it's like, so, and I think that's someplace where we'll be reaching out to folks like you and like where to figure out like how can we even talk about that at people. So that's and then and another thing that we've got a bunch of national data on this. People are not coming back to the office. Here we are in a community meeting in March. And my division, there are people who love and work like stand up fuzzy pants. Yes. I come downtown every day because I've decided to take the honest. I want my colleagues don't come downtown. It's a trend and we're stuck with it, and we're gonna have to live with it. Us and every city. And a solution is to get more people living. And what the data show is your Class A office space, and in downtown Eugene, that's the Citizens Building, US Bank Building, and Public Commerce Center. Those are our highest quality offices. It's kind of like those offices, attorneys want to stay downtown. There's a lot of offices within those offices stay full. The Class B office space, which is just kind of the like mishmash of kind of funny buildings we have with one second floor of office space, they're going to struggle. To convert housing, very expensive to do. For one, it's a lot of plumbing. Like they don't have plumbing on the second floor, and then it's just pipes are just expensive in general. We also have we require you to pay development charges based on plumbing. And let's talk about these for downtown or having a couple more plumbing do that. And another thing that happens when you have a change of use is it requires a seismic upgrade, which really I think is a great thing. There are buildings I don't want to be in them. I worry about earthquakes. And but I work in one of those buildings. It's very expensive. That the Broadway Commerce Center had to be seismically upgraded, and that's very expensive. And so, how can we incentivize that? Those are real costs that those that are faced with housing converted from commercial space. But that is to bring that's going to be really important. We've heard a lot of people talk about the need for affordable housing, and I know there is right now there are 5 affordable housing complexes, and about having and creating penetration of low-income housing in this neighborhood. And so I think actually our federal funds won't have an issue with it. So I think we're going to need more market rate. That was some ideas that are how new market rate housing is expensive and atrocious. That's a possible bill. And it's hard to and so are there other ways, some kind of housing that is somewhere not quite as expensive as somewhere and then also what can we do to encourage more ground floor commercial activity? And I think one of the things that's a problem, just looking at the way the streets are designed, from my seat, one of the worst blocks, the least safe feeling blocks is the block on Broadway between Hamilton and Holland. And there's not a lot of doorway. But there's on the Mercer building, there's like a good part of that block is just wall. It's a great place to hang out. And so what could we do with environmental design to line up that one wall, multiple buildings? We could look into incentivizing smaller businesses to build the ground floor of that old, I'll date myself, the Bon Marché building, whatever you call it.
Engineers maybe.
If I don't know if that's a done deal, and so that's Public Works Engineering is looking at putting in there. I don't know if the 3-story building. I don't know if the difference works, but there's I know that he's helped looking for me. Like an active use with people working on bikes, some kind of getting an active use. When it wasn't Symantec, it was Enterprise Car Rental was in that building for a while, and there you could see people in there, but there's so having that visual so you can see the building is really helpful.
And I just thought that the people being able to see out and watch what's happening because if those eyes are up on the street.
That's where we are.
So how much of the housing dilemma, let me back up a little bit. So we have,
A broken phone.
yeah, we have the Riverfront project is largely housing. And what was it, like 400, 500? There's more than that, I think.
New units coming out of the
Units,
ground
yeah.
over there. I think that's probably about right, about 400 or 500 units.
On the riverfront?
On the riverfront. I think there's been some analysis. I know we have a deficit of housing in
Yeah.
Eugene, and that's not.
And then Obi is also building 2 buildings that are gonna be about 300 more units. And those are all market rate.
There will be one affordable housing complex on the riverfront.
Right.
It's like 75 units.
Yeah. And I just, it's kind of like when you said too many in one spot, I know Janine said that kind of triggered something for you too.
Well, you said there was 4, 5, is that including Craig Vickers new building
Yeah.
across from the courthouse?
So there's the Nell, there's that
That
building,
one?
there's St. Vincent,
Commons.
oh, the Commons.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
district commons, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's where I live.
Yeah, he lives in the Commons,
And then
the Aurora building.
in West Town on 8th.
Which one?
West Town on 8th.
Not
Next
familiar
to
with
the,
that one.
next to the well hall, just east of the well hall.
Oh,
Mhm.
that one's hard, that one's tiny though.
Yeah, it's actually pretty big.
It's pretty big. It's got sort of layers of towers.
Yeah. Okay, because you can only physically see about.
No, you can't. It's kind of private in there. It's
Yeah.
sort of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trees and.
I think it's I think it looks.
I've been kind of disappointed in that, speaking of that space, in those units. I was very excited about, I used to be in micro enterprise development.
Mhm.
And we were very excited about those units being
The live work
the
units.
live work
that were on
units,
8th.
yeah, and I, every time I go by there, they're almost empty. And I wish that was something that we could, because that's another space where you
Yeah,
walk
I
into the
yeah.
Wow Hall,
Yeah,
and
no,
they're
it's-
largely empty.
And I think the south side of that street is pretty empty. We should talk to the property manager there. I know when they first built that, West Town on 8th, it's an affordable complex, but those live work units were marked, right?
It had nice stuff.
But it was, when they first built it, I know they struggled to sell it. I think, it's a very niche market.
Well, they came to us to market it to micro enterprises, to
Uh-huh.
market it to low income. That was what we did, was low income micro enterprises in a live work situation. And I'm sad that hasn't taken off, because we looked at some of our clients going in there, whether it would work for them.
That's why they look like they have people in there.
But it almost looks like people are just living in the spaces. They're
Yeah,
not
I think
actually.
so, not actually like working on the ground floor.
Yeah,
Mandy.
right. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of making that space kind of a dead space right there, when it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
lively.
it was supposed to interface with the street.
Yeah.
Well, and what you just described, all of this housing that's coming out of the ground, it's interesting. I think cities downtown we tend to be very focused on downtown core. And I gave a talk over at an urban geography class at the university, and I asked the students, how much do you come downtown? Oh, we come downtown a lot. I go to the Fifth Street Market. And I was like, oh, right, that's right. And that's I think that's another permanent change downtown Eugene. There's the pandemic and what it's done. There's the Fifth Street Market, plus everything out towards the university, there's all that tall student housing. And so I think what we really are gonna need to do is the street market, that's a tremendous amount of energy. It was incredibly stupid of me. There was the last football game in town today. I decided to go to the night before. It was hard to buy a pair of sneakers because it was so full. I mean, when was the last time you had that experience in person? And so that energy there, we want it to spill over 6 and 7 into the downtown core. I think right now crossing the city is a terrible experience. We need to build up so it's friendlier. I think you need to draw it psychologically. I need to stand on this corner and be like, I want to be there.
Mhm.
And then it's actually the experience isn't like reading.
Right, when you stand in that corner, all you see a big lot.
There's a federal building, it's a big blank wall, and then there's the county lot, that's a big parking lot, and the county
Oh, we
building.
cut through the graduate because we know that, but
Yeah.
not everybody knows. I mean, once you get over to the whole center,
Mhm.
then you kind of got got
Right.
a limit.
And that's, we did that Eric Berman, that
Yeah.
project to fix
Right.
that crossing, but there's, your project, Eric did the
Like
dirty work to install it.
Well, that's so how you connect those.
I got the money and I fought for years to
Yeah,
keep that
I
money.
know, and I think it's Pearl and Oak, we need to have similar,
Yeah.
so that there's multiple places to cross. But then over on Eighth Avenue, where Whole Foods is, across the street is a new housing development, it's gonna be big, coming out of the ground. And I forget where the front door
Like on the
is.
back of the shed.
On the across
Across the street.
Ferry
Oh,
Street.
okay.
Where the
Yeah, where
steakhouse is.
Ferry, then the Broadway turns into Franklin.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what streets
sure.
are called.
Oh, is that a Park Place?
They're already built.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a crane
I saw it,
out there.
yeah.
The name of the apartment complex.
Yeah.
In the bright green.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they're calling it this. And then there's a other new ones
Right
right there on Franklin.
Yeah.
Those kids are undoubtedly shopping at Whole Foods, but when was the last time you crossed that on foot? It's miserable.
Mhm.
We did it was a few, probably about a year ago, my husband and I walked in. And it's not any fun. And you do it if you have to, but we want it to
And if
make
you
it
have
so
Broadway,
still.
you have, as soon
Yeah.
as you get to the Eugene Hotel, you kind of got that space, but.
It's divided, and that is like, I mean, it's a trick to do, it's not an easy solution, but I think that those are two things. The district market energy and all of that energy from that new student-focused housing, those things should be spilling in. And that's, I mean, those are things to take advantage of, those are new permanent things that we would love for all of these people staying at the new hotels on this side of Sixth Avenue to walk across the street and go. Listen, and it's interesting, like the culture. We've got the shed, we've got the wow home, there's so many cultural venues that we want to make sure it's. No, I mean, it'll take a long time to get there, but those are, I think, the public doing that affects, builds up commercial activity by improving the safety through design.
Well, there'll be more people in the downtown Ports, more eyes on the street too.
Right. Did you and I have the conversation about third space?
I had a conversation about third space many, many times.
Well, I was trying to remember, but I talked to several people at the open house. And I asked Angela about what third space meant. What does the third space mean? And because to me, in my head, when I saw it, when the first couple of times I saw it, it meant park space to me. But the way she explained it is it's not park, it's not home. The third place to be. And so was we have 3 museums in town that want to move. We have Science Center wants to move, Lane County History Museum wants to move, and Adventure Children's Museum wants to move. And those 3 would bring a lot of activity downtown and just enhance that third space that we need for the hotels, for all of that. Yeah, for the parents. And I think it would just be really beneficial for us to concentrate on how do we get more of that third space, because the commercial activity will follow where the people are. And I think I'm going to say it's almost easier to enhance the third space than it is commercial activity, because the third space wants to be there. We have to convince the commercial activity.
And third spaces includes commercial activity, coffee shops.
Right, coffee shops and
bars,
things like that.
All of those things are.
But are there some strategic
Mhm.
to start
Mhm.
and build that thing?
Bring along.
So anyway, I'm looking at, you mentioned office space. One of the other office spaces that is empty, that are emptying, is the banks. We have several big bank buildings in town. US Bank and Columbia Bank are consolidating. They're not going to need all of those. Wells Fargo.
They're gonna sell that big building and
Yes.
they're moving just to the Starbucks on Broadway.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're not gonna have both buildings. then?
They have
Yeah, they're
closed.
gonna sell that.
They have closed most of their branches in town.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah, walk
I
by
drove
that.
by that and I was like, wait, you're right there.
Well,
Yeah,
there's the
that's-
pizza slice or something.
No, Slice,
Slice,
which is
Slice.
over in Whitaker, he's open, and he also owns John Henry's is opening
Opening.
Slice and Sizzle Pie. And he says he's gonna try to have a kids area.
So anyway,
Prime real estate.
yeah, so anyway, so Wells Fargo building, Columbia Umpqua Bank buildings, they are closing the Hilliard Street one. I know that for a fact, which is a little further down, but that is a nice piece of
The
property.
banks don't need the space they want.
No, they don't. And so here's these opportunities, speaking of the museums, wouldn't LCHM look great or do great in the old Wells Fargo Bank? They'd have a place to put, they'd have a place for the staff to park underneath. It's a nice walking space. They could get in and out with museum things. They'd have storage, and that's been their biggest issue, is finding space for exhibit space and storage space that will fit what they need. And it wouldn't be as heavily, the SDCs wouldn't be as heavy, because it's not as big of a change.
That's, I wrote that down. I walked by that building and just stood and stared at it. I don't know, part of it has, because it's designed, there's a courtyard in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Public Works Engineering, so I used to go to meetings over there. It's like there's this weird sliding glass door that goes onto this. And but the concrete. Where's your net? And so I looked at it and I was like,
Well, and the windows,
And so, but
Yeah.
but that's,
yeah, those
could actually
windows,
be reused. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, no, that looks like to me, but that would be a good reuse.
yeah, and the windows they can use for exhibit space. They can have exhibiting. I've been thinking about the Umpqua building and the Wells Fargo building. I don't know which one, at some point, they'll probably, Umpqua and Columbia, will get rid of one of those buildings. They're across the street from each
Right,
other.
right.
They don't need both of them. And they may not need that big of a space anymore.
Columbia, do you need the one for like?
All of it is Columbia. I think I'm thinking of the wrong, I think,
Because Umpqua's over here.
yeah, Umpqua's closer over here.
It's
Yeah,
the
but
one, it's
they're,
the one over there that has like a big parking lot.
Yeah, in the
with
back
a
of it, yeah.
Terrible building. in the
Yeah.
middle of it.
yeah, so it is a couple blocks, but I mean, they're literally can see each other. And it just is silly for a bank to have that many big branches.
All right, and I've got a question for you, Ann.
Yes.
How about housing for the homeless? We need to get the homeless off the streets, especially during the winter and the rainy times and snowy times. We definitely need to help as a community to get those people off the streets, to prevent them from getting sick, hypothermia, or pneumonia. We definitely need to help those guys. If we can get urban housing to help them out in the downtown area somewhere, that would be great, because we need to prevent the homeless. They're just like people, just like the rest of us. We need to support them. What my idea is, we definitely need to support the homeless. I'm sorry, but people have been getting sick during the rain, snowy times, especially the homeless people. I want to help them out or prevent them from getting pneumonia, bronchitis, or whatever. How about housing for the homeless? That way we can get them off the street during the winter times. Could we do that?
That obviously came up a bunch, and I don't know how, it's all still kind of like, if I had an answer to it, I would have a very different job, I think. Right now, the city, and Emily can probably better explain all of this than I can. The city has funded a number of safe sleep sites and other facilities that are shelter, I don't know what the right word is, but they're places for unhoused to have a location that is safe, it's dry, it's warm, there's services available. I'm sorry? They're not, okay. Some of these facilities,
They have a
I
community
guess
room
they have
with
a
a
community
fire,
room, right?
but
And so-
they're custom.
And I don't know how many of these we have. There's a new emergency services facility coming out of getting implemented, as well as another sort of a daycare, a
What
day.
about the YHD youth housing development? They're working on stuff right now.
There's a bunch of this happening, and I can't speak about it very articulately. It's not my wheelhouse. And that it's gonna have to be a community-wide solution, and how much there's spaces and funding to address the problem in downtown is part of a community-wide solution. And that
Right, I agree. I'm just trying to help, watch out for them, especially during the winter times. They can get sick just like the rest of us, and we definitely need to support them. Come from Harvard, those people have been getting sick and ending up in the hospital, violence, but we need to help them out. They're just like people, just like the rest of us. We definitely should support them and watch out for them. They are community members, just like the rest of us.
I think you're absolutely right, and there's I'm not the person who can like the city has been doing since the pandemic. The city's used a lot of federal funding to support space and services, and it'll be part. It's definitely, I mean, the problem is very visible in the downtown, but the solution will be a community. Probably my half of the division won't be, it's other parts of the city are dealing with it. Hopefully when the city council, I'll be able to answer questions about it.
Well, and unfortunately, it's not a snap your fingers and make it happen. Nothing is that quick, unfortunately. I mean, I think, I wish there was a solution. We probably wouldn't be having this problem if it could happen that quickly.
Well, and the other thing you have to understand is I'm down there all the time working with those kids and talking to them. And just in the last 2 weeks, several of them, I've given them locations to go to. They don't want to go. They choose not to go because they don't want the rules. They don't want, so it's not all of them, but
Right.
is that they have grown to adapt in that downtown area with the resources that are given to them. And it's not that we haven't provided options, but a lot of them just aren't taking those options. And it's a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I can tell you that I've been with downtown kids down there. Emily can attest. I talked to them. I just visit one of them in the hospital who got stabbed. They know
Oh,
me.
me neither. I'm trying to watch out for them too. They're just like community members, just like the rest of us too. We definitely should help them somehow, some way. There's got to be a way we can help.
So, and there is ways to help, but what I'm saying is it's kind of what I told the one that got stabbed this week. I said, are you finally going to listen to me and go to this location I found for you? I said, you know, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink. And that person still doesn't know if they're going to do it because they prefer to be on the street. They get more resources and stuff from what they tell me. So it's a hard sword because, you know, you see these kids down there and some of them, yes, need better resources and stuff. And I get that 100%, but they also don't want to go somewhere where they have rules and regulations. And unfortunately, they're going to have to. They
Yep,
can't
I agree.
Yeah.
And so it is hard because as Julia can attest with the her 15th night program is if you're out on the streets for 15 days, you're lost. You have a chance of adapting. And they work together down there. They support it. They call each other brother, sister, all that. And so, I mean, yes, it would be great if we could find something, but there needs to be some social services in place that help them to adapt from that kind of wild side back into rules.
Back into society, just like the rest of us.
Teenager program.
I mean, it is. I mean, it is sad to say, but it is kind of like that.
It changes our brain.
It
Yeah,
does. It changes their
And
brains.
then we become adults with those kinds of, our brains are adapting to it.
Mhm.
And so it's scary, at the least, it's scary to go into places where there's structure and rules and, you know, it's just a very difficult, complicated program and and it's not just about getting shelter.
Which they are working with that right now at the the place downtown where they can stay for the night, that we did the thing,
Oh, the Eugene Rock.
yeah, the Eugene Drop.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be having beds in there where they can stay at night, and they have
Yeah.
laundry there, they're actually gonna learn to cook, they are setting up our band rooms, they can learn to play instruments, they got computers. We're trying to hook them up with that, but that's kind of a nice little weaning point where they can start getting those services and stuff.
Oh, true. I just want to try and watch out for them because me members, just like the rest of us, especially during the winter time, they can easily get sick of bronchitis and pneumonia, like I was saying. I think we definitely need to, so people need to listen. But rules and regulations can be everywhere. Downtown, there's rules at the bus station, there's regulations, we definitely need to help them follow the rules, not just like the rest of us. If we have to follow them, everyone else has to follow them.
Well, and that's unfortunately the problem.
Yeah, that's why I
And
use
is that block, you know, the block that you talk about?
On Broadway.
Yeah, that's like why I don't go anywhere. I mean, it's really sad now. It's like, I don't want to walk down the street because I don't want to deal with that. But then do I want to go the other way, like past the library? Like when I went to the Cube the other day, I walked clear around just because I'm like, I know it's safe. I did want to say something about the lights, and I can't remember when this happened. So I live right above the alley where Hutch's is, okay, in the election place. And I moved, I've been there about 4.5 years, and I remember I would see people walking down that alley all the time. I mean, like residents, like going home, and it's like pitch dark, and I'm like, why? You know, it's insane. Well, somewhere in the past few years, and forgive me, my time is all messed up. There are lights now there that face, they're really awesome. They face down, meaning when they go
So they don't
off.
shine into your apartment.
What?
They don't shine into.
Right.
your
Good
apartment.
cutoff, they're good cutoff lights, directing the light
Yeah,
down.
but there, I mean, because we have a lot, I'm one of the few that doesn't have an animal. And you know, you'll see people walking their dogs, and it used to be pitch black, and now I look out and it's bright, but it doesn't bother me. So I don't know where else that is in the city, but I mean, it's.
If it could be that like that alley that's right down by Keezy,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
ones behind, I wish every alley in the downtown core was lit up like that.
Which, you mean the one between the atrium and the Woolworth?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that would be a safe, if every alley was lit up like that, people would walk down the alleys. People would-
I chose to go that, I can take that one to go to Broadway or to Willamette night. At night, I take the one from there, it didn't matter which way I went.
And cameras help, I mean, whether or not they're, you can do a lot with them, I know when there's eyes, I don't love feeling like I'm being watched all the time, but.
But neither does bad behavior.
Right.
They've actually in big cities
If I'm
done
walking
things,
an alley, I guess I'm okay with there being a camera.
some bigger cities will actually put murals with faces with eyes, so it actually gives the perception of being watched. That has a good reflective paint, but when you have the lights, it causes it to bright up more using yellows and stuff. And so it works, yeah, people actually feel more like they're being watched.
This is how environmental is, like, it's
Like the pictures on the wall.
it's not that high, like, that is a lot easier than building a new building.
What I mean,
outlines by the theater, what if instead of in a line, they were facing out eyes? Simple.
Yeah.
well, and even
Yeah.
And our
Yeah.
artists, they could do it really well.
local artists, you could do wayfinding in the alleys once they're lit up, so as you go down this alley, you know, oh, if I go down this alley, it's gonna get me to this store and this location and this. So people start utilizing alleys as more main thoroughways to get places, and it gets more eyes in those areas.
One of the problems with our downtown is it's big, it has a really big footprint. And so it's just a lot of space. You know, in this process, I've heard people multiple times say, you know, Springfield, the best 2 blocks in town. And I kind of lost it a little bit. They have 2 blocks.
Right.
2, it's 2. And we have all kinds of stuff that there'll be like 2 things and then a big vacant stretch.
Yeah.
And so we gotta tie that together. And it's hard because we have a big geography. It extends all the way from the library to the Fifth Street Market. It's a big amount of space. And that is just like, oh, we're gonna have to really build a lot of housing there. And then also our blocks are big. They're long. And so it does like that
The
actually makes
alley
it
to the block is almost.
almost
feel
what
like a
other
regular block,
places
yeah.
would be in a block. And so ours are like, kind of small blocks or very big. Alleys, I do think, it's interesting, instead of taking Broadway, when I. Behind the LCC
Yeah,
building,
that's
then I'm
where I
like,
go.
I'll come back. And then the alley from the atrium over to Willamette is actually. With one of there's a business that's on there that has windows that face onto the alley for part of it. There's a door that's like the garage in the building, and so there's a little bit of activity. There's the folks who work in the building on the south side, but often there's somebody standing smoking, and I'm like, oh, no, people, it's good to see you. And so I think like that kind of utilizing, I think our alleys are a huge.
Well, and the little
opportunity.
street sweeper people that are out there and the leaf blowers and they're in the alley. Like I have walked in several of them every morning and I was still fighting. There's just lots of people around doing stuff.
And I think a lot of them, they're very pedestrian oriented. There's a lot of opportunity there to make our alleys be fun.
Even if you did some more, like you said, you were talking about third space, so you have little coffee shops and stuff that actually put seating in those alleys, as you're walking down the alleys, they do that in Seattle. They've got some great little things where you go down the alleys and people
There's no
are,
traffic there.
people are walking by people out drinking coffee or, eating dinner and stuff, so the alleys actually become part of the regular route.
With the Market Alley.
Yeah.
And it's even built in.
I heard in one of my, when I was doing the focus group, they talked about the idea of taking a larger, larger, big building and at least, the street level, chunking them down into smaller spaces, so somebody could, a smaller business could do something, but they don't have to rent the building.
Right.
And
I think the obvious one is that old Bon Marché
Yeah.
building. It's funny, across the street, it's the medical supply building with one doorway. And so you just go. And just to mix it up a little bit. The block on East Broadway where Passion Flower and Von East was, there's a lot of little doors. The minor building, I think, is really Passion Flower has one. And then they have the lobby and then Post Revolution design.
well, and from pretty much T Square East, you can kind of walk down. You got a little shop and a restaurant and, down, but. That's a little back,
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about that space, that live work building.
Yeah.
Because that's not activated there, those spaces,
Which building?
the live work building.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that's not activated, it becomes dead space
Well,
right
and
there.
all of Trumbull.
Yeah.
Potential.
Yeah.
From Seventh all the way.
And it surprises me because Well Hall is pretty active. And it seems like there could be more activity on that end, but it doesn't seem to attract them.
Well, the food for Lynn County dining room, the parking lot, the old liquor store, which is now. No, it's closing.
Oh.
How many years? It's
Oh.
huge. So,
I'll
you know,
just say
we've
that.
got that, there's.
Well, a New Zone was there for a while, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's not much happening, there's the building on the corner next to Vintage.
Yeah.
And then across from the Wow Hall is a grass parking lot.
Yeah.
And then we have my beloved Gardner Floors, which are open in the daytime, but don't pull in a
Yeah.
lot of street traffic.
Right. And I wonder if it's because Wow Hall's most of their activities are after hours. Yeah.
All of them,
You
yeah.
know, with the Well Hall in the summer? It's there.
Mhm.
They have this rock and roll,
Mhm.
and I only know this because I said, oh my God. And then I saw that, it must have been before the pandemic. 12-year-old boys roaming the streets of downtown Eugene. you can buy a huge soda pop at buy two for like 70 cents. But so they have more than just their evening activity.
Right, but it feels like they mostly advertise their daytime, their evening stuff, you know, and their weekend stuff. I wonder if it was known that it was more active during the day. I know that, like when during the pandemic, they did shop clinics and stuff like that.
Right, that's right.
And then it's a space that can be used for other
Yes.
things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be more active.
It's a very cool building.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it is kind of like, I never even go by it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tucked away in the center of town. I think that building where, I guess it's Arnoldton, on the southwest side. That it's
I
very,
think I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of it too.
that,
The one
that's a
next- the
real,
one next to Food for Lake
where
County.
where the used
Yeah.
liquor store used to be in there, and
There's
there's like
an
a.
old liquor store, the parking lot, Food for Lake County dining room, which is not activated except from 12 to 2 and Monday to Thursday. And then the red building that's for sale, that, who knows what it is.
Oh, right.
And
It
then-
was,
and
there was
then
some
the
kind of
vintage.
office in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
little offices and businesses,
Right.
but.
Huge opportunity for something totally different to go there. Yeah, no, we did. And actually, I know some private, but some folks were looking at acquiring it and building housing. It's a conversation I had with them before the pandemic.
Have they talked about, you said something about like, but these fees that it costs to, the SDCs. You said it's almost as much as the new building. Has there been conversations about, raising old buildings and maybe?
Well,
Like.
Well,
that-
we've
that
had a
works
history
out
of
fine.
raising old buildings and having empty spaces for a long
Right.
time.
Right, but I guess if the cost of that were part of the sale or the building of a new building.
and it's not just, it's the whole shebang. Part of it is the seismic upgrade there. That's really expensive. I think that you have a building that's worth saving, I think it's great to save it.
Yeah.
And I think what they did in Broadway Commerce was, they didn't, there's nothing historic left in that building, but it has this historic vibe to it. I would do what I could to say, if like anybody wanted to take down the Wow Hall. Horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it's a super cool building. A few one is the old LCC building that
Yes.
tends,
And that melting in the ground.
I thought we were gonna make that at like 25%
we're gonna turn it into housing.
market
City
housing.
bought it with federal dollars, and it's gonna be a mix of affordable housing.
Yeah.
And we're working with a private developer who actually, Coty on her side, but there've been, interest rates changed and they had to rework it. They're still moving forward, negotiations are like.
And are they
looking at it.
renovating it or? are
No,
they-
They're gonna tear-
no, they're gonna tear it down.
That building
And
is-
we
is-
looked really,
bad.
And I
really
guess
hard.
those were things, but,
Yeah.
are there buildings that are in,
Which
that are in
location?
that
Where's
kind of
this?
category?
The original LCC building
Yeah, from the
downtown,
station,
across from the bus station.
Oh, yeah.
And then just around,
1050,
You know.
1050
Yeah,
Willamette.
Oh,
Yeah.
1059
Yeah.
Willamette.
I mean,
Like a
one
block
thing that
from-
cities do
Yeah.
is buy problem properties.
Yeah.
You buy them, if you, and we did it. I mean, it took a long time. We had a terrible pit downtown.
Yes.
The city bought the old Sears building and we tore it down, and it was a pit, and it was for a long time. It's not anymore,
No.
it takes time. And so I do, like, that's a common thing that what urban renewal can do is, people do it wherever you have urban renewal, it's very common, is the public sector to buy some. And they're problems for all these reasons. They're like attractive nuisances, it's dangerous, it's ugly, or it's vacant, and converting it to something just doesn't make financial sense to anybody who needs to show a return. And then buy it, tear it down, or you do something to get it ready for renovation, which is essentially what we're doing with that old LCC building. We bought it and we're gonna use our funds, we'll fund SDCs and then also the demolition of it.
So one building in our neighborhood that I am concerned about that would probably end up being demoed is the EWA building.
The old commercial
Yeah.
building? The headquarters? I don't think it will.
No, no.
I heard that Opie was interested in that for a while.
He he was one of the names that came up. The Science Center was interested in it, but they backed out because of the seismic stuff. They couldn't
Honestly, I
afford
think
it.
it'd make a great mall with tons of little restaurants and businesses in it.
Oh, that's a good idea, Officer Janine. We need more restaurants downtown, like a Popeyes or In-N-Out Burger. That would attract the downtown people that are down there. That would really attract more people would be down there. Like more restaurants, like I said, Popeyes, In-N-Out Burger, another Burger King, McDonald's, or something. The downtown kids, whoever hangs around down there, if they get hungry, they have brand new restaurants to go to. That'd be a good idea to put new restaurants down there. The In-N-Out Burger, like I said, or something like that. Red Rooster or whatever. That'd be a good idea for brand new restaurants that go in downtown.
When's the pizza place moving in, you said?
A couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
Really?
I'm actually
See,
supposed
I
to reach
might
out to her
venture, I
next
might
week.
go through the darkness and the uncertainty for a block.
Try it out.
Yeah, that's such a good,
It is, when Sizzle Pie said they were leaving, Eric found out like within minutes, and the staff of the city and staff of the Chamber of Commerce reached out to the property, the broker, we're like, what can we do to help out in this space? How do you know that they're leaving? I just found out. Because Eric talked to somebody who talked to somebody. And so, and we all, it was actually like, this is something that we can do just with our regular staff time is we got the property, the broker, I was like, here's information about our downtown loan program. Here's what we can do to help in these kind of softer ways to attract somebody. And he was, I think Slice would have reached out to him. This is very good space. And I just noticed on the way here, the old Scan Design building, we've heard that there's I've heard it's a bricks and mortar sporting goods supply store moving in there. There's a big construction bit out front. And so they're doing stuff on the inside, yeah.
Oh, where at?
It's the building just next to Metro Theater on Willamette Street, Willamette Street.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Okay, I think I've seen that.
Across from
Yes.
Dow's place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one that was very disappointing to was Come Together. And
Is that the
there's
cookie place?
are they
That's
gone?
my cookie.
They're
not
place.
gone yet.
December
Yeah,
23rd,
yeah.
they're closing, they're selling all the stuff in there to the restaurant company by December
Oh, I
30th.
should go in there.
They have 6 months left in their apartment house for renting, and then they're looking to close. One of the problems is that the Key Bank building is empty. That was the clientele.
There's another
So
bank building.
Yeah,
That's a huge one.
it's a big building.
How
And
many
it's
thousands of people went downtown?
Oh, yeah. And those buildings are fully leased, like the Key Bank, that's the Citizens Building is 100% leased, and they're gonna stay leased.
But nobody's
There's
on
nobody
there.
working there.
Yeah.
And
And
so
so, yeah,
I
it's
went to
like,
the cookie place during the pandemic, and I'm like, hey, just to talk to someone. And they're like, there's no one here coming in. They were just, lady was just like, no one's coming in.
How about like a big movie theater that we can build down here? Big movie theater would attract a lot of people too.
I have a movie theater.
there is, the Metro Theater is on Willamette Street.
Oh, I was thinking like the $1.50 that went out from Gateway. We can build a brand new movie theater here downtown. Then $1.50 went out of Gateway, so we can build like a $1.50 movie theater down here. That'd be a great idea too. Or a bowling alley, movie theater or a bowling alley would be a great idea for people to hang out at.
There's lots of awesome ideas. It's
Brittany Cook Warner wants a bowling alley.
She really
She wants
does.
a bowling alley. She always talks about
uh
It's overlaid and.
well, and my grandparents went during the day. My grandma, my mom had a bowling during the day. And when I wasn't in school, that was where we were. We were at the bowling alley.
Well, and to me, it's like, what do you get there first? What
Right.
comes first?
Right.
That begins to build the design prior for people to come, and then, you know, and how you cook those together, so, I mean, I guess,
It's a lot of chicken and egg, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, you know, the work that the city did for years, I think had a really positive impact.
Oh,
We
yeah.
live in a building that was, it had a hugely positive impact.
It was
and-
fabulous before
Yeah.
the pandemic. It really
Yeah.
felt like things were going forward, and the riverfront was all planned to be done, and the worlds were coming, and I remember all that, because that's what we did at these meetings, and we talked about all of these great things that are happening, and we're all part of that.
You know, one thing I will say is when we had the games here, I was walking down there. My team, we were down there 15 hours a day, morning and night, and I cannot tell you how many people from the public were like, why can't we have something like this all the time? We would come down here, there was like this live music and there's this
Right.
live activity outside and something going on, and we really, downtown doesn't have that. You know, so what's
The
something?
Eugene celebration.
Yeah, but I mean, something like, okay, it's Friday night, let's go down to this area, there's gonna be music, there's gonna be dining, there's gonna be.
Well, and the city,
I mean, food, everything else.
what is the department I'm thinking of? To activate downtown park blocks, Colette's department.
The cultural
Cultural services,
Oh, yeah.
they were doing lots of stuff in the
Mhm,
summertime, and we had the,
Oh, the art walk.
we had,
Like
yeah,
every Friday night when after I moved down. there was
yeah,
always something
yeah, there was
down
always
there.
something at the
Well,
park
there's
blocks.
the art walk, a lot of places
Yeah.
on the art walk Friday.
Mhm.
And then they were trying to come this way, and I did the coffin races, and that was a lot of
Yes.
fun. And then that pandemic, I mean, it killed cultural services.
How about some concert halls? Can we build concert halls here for downtown for every?
Right next to the Tokyo Tansu across from
really?
the Wazette.
Yeah.
It's all red and yellow, and I've talked to the people, and they're just, why?
We had a soft opening, we went
Right
there.
on
Oh,
Broadway?
On Broadway?
Was it awesome?
Yes.
Broadway,
It's right next to our apartment office. We went there and they gave us, we got free Cuban sandwiches a couple weeks ago. Well, I mean, our apartment, we paid for it. Yeah, I went and saw the guy, like, anyway, you can see stuff on Facebook even though I'm not on it.
Was in.
And actually Thursday, when I was leaving to go to my mom's on Thanksgiving, they were moving and stuff. So I heard December, which is,
No,
I'm
I
not sure.
heard mid-December, so a couple.
yeah,
weeks.
it's really nice. I mean, we had Cuban sandwiches and.
And I said, you know, we don't have any Cuban restaurants.
I
He
know.
goes, that's right, 143 miles. I looked it up.
Business owner,
I'm excited. Yeah,
Havana Cafe.
Yeah.
Good name.
I mean, when I moved, I'll just tell you, when I moved down there, like 4.5, what'd you say, was it good? It was good.
No, I'm thrilled, I didn't know it was there.
No, that's
But
what,
like 4.5 years ago, when I moved, I liked that I would be down at like Kesey Square and it would be all crazy. And then as I would walk home, it would get quieter.
Right.
And I used to find comfort in that. I
it was a
don't,
different kind of.
exactly. And now it's like, I don't like that it's doing that. I mean, yeah, the pandemic, and I think because we were inside for so long, and you kind of come back out and you're like, what? Is this, and that's on me sometimes, I'm like, has it always been like this since I've been down here? It's like, no. But you know, you're all disoriented
The
from
world
the,
is so different. We've been so isolated. and
Yes.
We've only interacted on the checkerboard or like
yes.
this. And now that, you know, you want me to go beyond that, I don't know how to do that. It's scary and I'm tired and I'm mad anyway.
We don't have the capacity for things that we used to, and we're more triggered by things, and so it's like, you know,
People are arrogantly rude in Whole Foods. I'm like, really?
I'm about to teach my 70th de-escalation seminar, most of them in the downtown core this year.
Thank you for doing that. You're really good.
People are angry.
I myself.
People are angry.
Yeah.
But that too,
Frustrated,
part of that
angry,
is
scared.
The personal safety
And
seminars too, because people
lonely.
don't feel safe downtown too, and that's the big issue also. It's the big kind of thing that's not really being addressed is people don't feel safe there right now.
I don't know how to make that.
I know, but that's that.
Housing, until I get housing,
Yeah.
what do we do?
Yeah, we need to get, like I said, light it up, get housing, get more people down there, get positive things down there, but
We need the positive feedback from the community.
See what's happening on the street, like who do I see and are people there and, I mean, I wouldn't wanna meet anyone down there or tell someone, I never go downtown. I
Well, so
realize,
so that's the thing you have to look at though, is I've got businesses saying, I'm gonna sell and get out of here. So if we're
right.
trying to get people to go there, I think safety really needs to be a priority
I
because
agree.
people aren't gonna build down there if they don't feel safe. And so.
But I don't know how to get safety unless we have more people.
But I think the safety is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first
But I'm
thing
just
to
saying,
put
right
this
now, I've
on.
got, I mean, I go in and talk, I'm gonna start working with the downtown ambassadors to do like a greet thing, so every time a business opens, we'll walk down, this is my card and stuff, we're trying to, but I already talked to a lot of the businesses, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of businesses that are telling me, I don't know if I'm gonna stay here much longer. I don't feel safe down here, my customers don't feel safe. So, I mean, and that kind of goes back to what you're saying earlier, in those 5 steps or things that you're looking at, people want to see safety, but they also want to see more businesses.
And we're trying to encourage people to walk or use public transportation, and if people can't drive and park somewhere close where they're going, then, it has to be, like you said, there has to be a way that if I'm gonna park over here or use public transportation, I have to feel like I can get to where I'm going.
So what about, again, I go to bigger cities, but I also research this a lot. You've got like these great areas, but they're kind of sectioned off. So you're gonna have the riverfront, you have downtown, you have Fifth Street Market, you've got these places. What if you were to, somehow Eugene was to find a way to fund it, but like not a tram, but a trolley or something that literally had a route that went
Where do
around.
Eugene go?
And maybe it started like Valley River Center where there's plenty of parking. So you could do a route that stops at Oakway Center, at
I
downtown.
think there was a little mini bus that did that for a while, and I think it kind of.
It died,
dissolved.
it
was
died.
the end walk to
the-
them.
But it was just
No, this was a while ago, a little funny shop, I don't know if it's Valley River.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
There was the MGO, which I think the pandemic.
Kind of killed that, yeah.
We have all these like gravestones.
Yes.
Everything that died.
Well, and it's also, things evolve.
Yeah.
And they might work for a while, and I just think that the rules, that was 2 years ago. It's interesting.
Oh, we definitely should try that, the trolley thing again. That'd be a great opportunity to prevent from what's going on down there, like that busting, like I said earlier, Officer Janine. We need to try that trolley program. That'd be a great idea.
The trolley.
Oh, trolley,
Yeah. So
Well,
I think Pete said that somebody was, because LTD still has those and goes. And he said somebody was looking at reactivating them somehow, whether it was the bike place or
I wouldn't be
the,
surprised, and I think it'll probably come out of this conversation, and we used them during the World Athletic event.
Yeah.
Because that was, I know, like, city staff was tagged, there was all these places where you could volunteer, and the guy who runs our loan program brought an MGO. So, and so they're still around, and I don't think, we're not gonna sell them off, right? I think probably need a little bit more of a critical mass downtown.
I think he said it might be like Peace Out the Bikes, it was something like that, somebody like that was thinking about using them too. I can't remember exactly, but it was kind of an offhand comment and something. But
One of the things that's an interesting trend with how people are different, people do come into the office, and I see it in our office, people come in sometimes, the division right next to mine, they definitely have a Tuesday, Thursday trend, there's a lot of Tuesday, Thursday. It used to be, if you were gonna go out with your coworkers, you would go out Friday night, and actually Friday is the day people were working at home. And so, we've seen national data on this, that's not just here, that is everywhere. And so if you're talking about the programming, I think there's been a little bit of programming, and there'll be more programming, but we need to be strategic about it. Do you want to like draw people downtown on a Friday night, or do you want to actually keep people who work in offices to spell out and go to places after work on a Thursday night? We've had the occasional, like, oh, somebody's retiring or something, we're gonna celebrate something, and it's funny, Fridays, it's hard to get people to go anywhere, because they have to come from wherever they live. It's
And kids,
interesting.
and mine's way out of it, but for school, sometimes you'd have Fridays off. for school, so then you've already got maybe plans and people are already starting their weekend, so they're like not gonna stop and kind of come in.
A lot of university classes are not on Fridays, so
Yeah.
Thursday night is really party night.
You know that downtown, that's Friday night.
Hey, Thursday's
No, I
my
just
Friday.
know that from,
Is it Thursday or Friday?
Thursday's my Friday.
I've got a person on our team that she just switched to 4 to 10. Not
You
working
can
Friday,
just call it
Saturday.
that, the new, Thursday's the new Friday,
Thursday's new Friday.
and make a thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
just,
absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like an incentivize your businesses and do it for a while.
And so we have, how to really understand what those patterns are. It's a matter of analyzing the data. We have parking data coming out of our ears. Like, we know exactly when people come in and when they leave and what days and how long they park and blah, blah, blah. So we can really see like who, we can make some analysis for who and when it's coming down. We can also get bus ridership data and the bikes. Different. We treat our offices. And I think it's just been for a long time. We still haven't worked it out.
My kids are in their early 30s and they're never gonna work in the office. They're just not.
Yeah, my brother's never going back to the
They
office.
will never go, they just decided that they're like going to work at their house for the rest of their lives. And they do all these, and they don't just work there, they work on vacation, they work all wherever they want to.
There was just a thing in the New York Times, though, the younger workers, how do you meet people?
Yeah.
You know, I was, one of my bridesmaids was a coworker. You know, that some of my best friends I've made at my job.
I think they'll get there, but for now, that's the mindset,
Yeah.
you know, and so it'll be interesting to see how that evolves, I'm sure.
I don't
I
wanna
find-
go back to where I'm finishing school and I'm gonna start looking for work and I'm like, you know what? I've been home for too long. It's like, I love being at home and working. And I'm
dying to be.
I'm
Dying. It's interesting. I think, I like the separation of space, and I think it's also, I have to bring my work's not home. And I think like that's,
yeah.
When you go home. it's
you know, I
home.
have to deal with this
Yeah.
terrible public all the time.
And then there's my job.
My job. I can't do my job at home. I have to do parts of it at home.
Yeah.
But I have to be here to open the door and turn the lights on and
Yeah.
off. And
But I'd like a mix. It does get a little isolated.
There's parts of, like, there's administrative stuff that I have to do that I would rather be at home because I can focus and
Right.
concentrate and get that done. But I think having that, you know, like you were saying, I could have 2 days a week at home
Mhm.
or half days a couple times a week, but the rest of the time.
So it's all gonna be a different world in downtown. We have to, we're in a new place. Let's hope we can pull through and I think, and if, you know, housing, I think is an essential part of the solution. You talk about not being able to snap your fingers and solve it, you know, the best case scenario is something will be there in 2 years. Takes a lot.
So Tim, did you have anything you wanted to contribute to this evening? You've been very quiet.
You
Come
guys
on,
are
Tim, it's
great.
your turn.
I appreciated the conversation. I am dual meeting right now, so I apologize that I'm a little more quiet as we work from home. So,
In real life.
Here's stuff I was like thinking, and I actually had talked a little bit about Washington Jeff Park, but I think that's a little bit far away, but if utilizing a service, you're getting all this housing downtown. You got 400, 500 people that are gonna be down at the riverfront, all this new stuff. And guess what I see downtown all the time? People out walking their dogs on the sidewalks. There's no dog park.
I am a big advocate for dog parks.
What, I mean, if you put in the downtown core a big area that's lit up, benches, people will
Like the
go
one over
down
by
there
Austin.
to walk their
Oh,
dogs
benches,
all
don't
hours
get
of the
me
day of the
started on the
night.
bench.
But
Isn't there gonna be a dog, isn't there kind of a dog facility
By
on
the
the riverfront?
Mildred, by the Mildred, they're putting something.
the where?
The OB building, we talked about it.
Oh, yes, he did mention
Right down
that,
here.
but it's gonna be,
Yeah,
it's gonna
because when we
be,
had that meeting.
Yeah.
Little mini.
yeah, it's gonna be a little tiny one, yeah.
It's tiny, but I mean like an actual
Real
area
dog park.
lit up and maybe even has like a park ambassador or something there, so people go all hours of the days and night because the dog has to go in the middle of the night and people work all hours.
Mhm.
And that might, if you get it more centrally located in the Capri somewhere, it's gonna bring people down there. Cause everybody has dogs down there. I see them walking,
Yeah.
but there's nowhere really to take them.
Well, you know, Amazon, where I ride my bike, I'm by the dog, so Amazon, and then there's the place, it's by Jefferson Park behind the,
Yeah, it's not fenced, but.
yeah, it's an
off-leash area.
unleashed area. But yeah, the Amazon one, because they have the little dog and the big dog.
Yeah, but downtown, where do
Oh,
people
I know,
go?
that's what I'm saying, they're up and down the alley.
But it's just, I won't go, because I'm not gonna get in a car to go let my dog run around.
Right.
Right.
you know?
So I'm just saying that could be a good, if
That would be-
something could be found.
They made a little grassy area down a few blocks from me, a dog park, but it's no fence on it. And it doesn't do me any good to take my dog down there.
Can't have your dog run off these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so.
Right. You know, that's sweet.
I need a
It's
space.
interesting, the building that Tim did in Willamette, one of the
They have
proposal,
dogs, yeah.
they have like a dog washing area.
Mhm.
And it was funny, like, there, you know, it's housing, and trying to focus on housing, and everyone wanted to talk about the dog washing area. And it was like, okay, people love it, because they're gonna have this space for people to wash their dogs.
People love
apparently,
their animals.
That's how you wanna
And
get a
new
project to
houses-
move forward.
and new houses are putting dog showers and,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, in the mudroom,
That's
you
so
know, you have
interesting.
like stepped-in dog shower, that of things.
Oh, that's a good idea for dog parks for downtown. That's a good idea, Officer Janine. That's, a lot of people, I've seen people walk down the Fifth Street alley with their dogs. We need a dog park so they can run around and play. We
Yes,
need something for pets, right? Like dogs, cats, or whatever.
Now,
That
if
I
you
agree with you
put
on.
a local like, coffee cart or something there, or,
Mhm.
you know, some coffee carts can go somewhere around it. Now you got, oh, I'm gonna go get my cup of coffee in the morning, I can let the dogs run around while I have my coffee.
A good idea, Officer Janine. I support that.
yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I think, I'm, for the vision for the SMJ, we're trying to build this space out here. And part of it is because even with the Riverfront project, there's not a really good spot to hold an event downtown. A wedding or, something along those lines. And a venue. And we've got the Graduate, the Inn at the Fifth, the Gordon, the Campbell House, none of them have outdoor space. And so I've been reaching out to them and saying, we're gonna have this space outside that overlooks downtown. We were talking about the view earlier. And that's another way, I am trying to find more connection between us and the downtown core. And bringing people to Skinner's Butte and taking advantage of this side of our space.
Do you find that the new activity at the street market has impacted it?
I'm not seeing it significant. I didn't see anybody from the worlds. I probably seen anybody.
But how about?
I don't see anyone either. So I live right by the Fifth Street Market. I don't see anyone. People just walking around down there. We need something for pets, like Officer Janine was saying. Downtown is a great idea for dogs, and I support that 100%. I'm backing that.
I get a lot of people who find us accidentally. They kind of drive by, I'm like, what is this place? And they, and then go to Fifth Street, go to, these places. So, I kind of see people first and then, or I see a lot of people from the Graduate that can see us from the Graduate.
Oh, and then they come over.
And then they
like,
come
what the
over.
heck?
Yeah, exactly. I get people from the train station and they come up here and go, what is this place? But I don't see a lot of connection because we're not really visible from Fifth Street really
It's a
well.
dark- And it's a dark walk.
Yeah,
It was, so my phone said it would take me 19 minutes to walk here from my office.
Yeah.
It took me 10.
Yeah.
It was really absurdly easy, because I would text him and I was like, will you give me a ride home? And I was like,
yeah,
this is actually really close, it's
Yeah.
psychologically further.
yes.
And I
Yeah,
do,
because you have to walk
the
around,
train,
go
you
up.
got to, you need to go around it. And I was like, no, there's like a thing at the train station to get over the
Yeah.
tracks, but actually, going to Pearl, it just wasn't that. I mean, it had a smidgen of walk,
Yeah.
but it's dark from
Yes.
Pearl Street to here,
Yes.
it's dark, but this new road, this is a fence, I think this is a. This
I walked
housing
along
built
that
over
road.
here
I came down Lincoln.
and came this way, I
down
decided that was gonna be too dark.
It wasn't so bad.
My phone told me. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
listen to my
wasn't so
phone.
bad. I had planned to come my usual route through Broadway and then come up Pearl, but.
It's interesting, we should make sure that we're working with you on that, because I do think, like, lighting, signage, that this street, there's a lot that's gonna happen, like, all of this new housing that's coming out here, with the stuff at, Hummingbird there, eventually, the crossing on Lincoln is gonna go away. The street, because they're at the quiet zone, the railroad says for all of this quiet zone stuff here, they need to take away crossings, and that's one that's going up.
They're gonna close that street.
With the crossing, the road crossing eventually.
Interesting.
To go down Lincoln to the views.
Oh, I use that street all the time.
I use it too, so
I'm
you're
trying to
too.
imagine.
I had thought, and I talked about this a little bit at our group thing, but I don't think I articulated it very well. Because for me, I am comfortable being downtown and I know where things are. I can invite people, no complicated, and they'll do things. But I was thinking about, I know I was looking at SMJ House and, you know, all of your events for December are already full.
Mhm.
And I remember when we lived down here, and they used to do those,
Walking.
the bike pedal beer.
Oh, yeah. She had this.
Yeah,
Yeah, but here's what I was thinking with like the ambassadors and that program or that department. If you had tours that, like, what if there was a historical tour and you went to the men's house and you came here and you just had those regularly so people could, you know, and because to me, it's, I don't know that I want to do it by myself, but if somebody else is out there, and it's like any kind of tourism, you go on a tour
Mhm.
and you have a really great tour
Mhm.
guide and they know.
So
all the
I will say that
details.
whenever we do them,
Yeah.
they're very popular.
Yeah.
Do you do like tours of downtown?
Yes. I have
But
done
what if
them.
we had those?
It would,
like,
unfortunately, it
all
costs
the time?
money to do them
But I'm
regularly.
saying that's
Yeah.
a great place to spend if you have that and.
When they first established the ambassadors, that's what I understood they were gonna do. I think it was like my own fiction I created in my
Yeah.
head.
But what if that was part of it, that you
Right.
had ambassadors that did what they're doing, but you
I did
also.
docents for downtown.
Yes.
And so you do docent tours, do you charge for them?
I have done free ones and I've done charged ones.
And they're
Um,
always full.
They're always full.
I think people would pay for it, and I think if you could do, if I had something where I could bring my mom and my grandma and my granddaughter and come and we could just go all these places, it takes 2 hours and there's food,
Mhm.
or not, I mean, it
Mhm.
wouldn't even have to be food, I think those are things that gets people in the space and shows them how
But
to walk from this street.
I
to-
think it's something
you know,
that
yeah.
cultural services could.
Yeah.
Do you partner with cultural services on those, or do you do them all yourself?
We usually do our own. The last partnership I had was with Lane Arts Council.
Because it's really about getting people down here and
Mhm.
helping them learn, like, it's like all of you guys talking about all these spaces
Mhm.
and how you walk, it's like, because you do it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the fear is gone and you know how to deal with whatever, but for somebody who's never done that before, they're not gonna just come park somewhere and walk to a couple different places. So how do you get people kind of into that phase?
Mhm.
Get them
with-
excited about it.
I wonder if we could partner with In at the Fifth and the Gordon and the Graduate
Right.
and, you know, meet
What's
at,
that dinner thing where you have a little, like.
yeah, the progressive,
dinner?
yeah. So we did it
You can have hors
progressive.
d'oeuvres here.
You
and
can
you
do like a
have-
pub crawl.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we did a progressive dinner with Jazz Station.
Uh-huh.
We partnered with the Jazz Station and did a progressive dinner, and that was a lot of fun.
And now they got the bigger facility.
But I think if you just
Yeah.
had tours that happened regularly
Yeah.
and they were themed, and there were 6 places that you went, but
Yeah.
people had to walk between or.
Yeah.
You know, and you just had them all the time, like we were saying, you have something to do and they have those geocache things.
Yeah.
or,
I
you know.
have all the materials to do it. It would be money mostly
Right.
to
But
do
that's
it.
what we're paying.
Right.
And that's not a lot of money from, if you're looking at the perspective of.
Well,
So maybe here's the thing too, is like, I mean, if you have different businesses that are trying to bring people, again, just I like to throw things out there. I just went to in Old Havana in Florida, and they have tour guides that they start one place, and this place makes sugar cane water, and so they'll bring it out and give you samples and stuff, because then people are there and stuff. And then they take them down to a cigar making place where, you know, and so as they go around, they actually get little things, and the businesses will actually contribute because it's actually bringing people to their business. And so therefore they're paying the guides.
And you're secretly
As
getting
well.
people used to being downtown and
Right.
walking
Right.
regular routes and, you know. and
There was a
doing
tour
some-
company out of Portland that had a bus, and they were doing it. They were working out of Fifth Street, Hamilton's, and I think COVID killed it.
Stupid COVID.
Yes.
COVID. You know, you're coming out of it. I know, what about like self-guided tours? Did Charlotte County have some self-guided tours?
Yes, we have several
And
subcultures.
are those effective?
I don't think you're gonna get the same people.
I don't know that people know they exist.
Yeah. I think for,
Probably good to like
I think
park the
people will do
pamphlet at a
something.
hotel.
I want somebody else who knows what they're doing and who's safe.
Yeah, no, and I don't know that,
People.
because there's a pamphlet that the city has of the historic houses in the neighborhood, in this neighborhood. And it's all the historic houses, and you can take yourself on a self-guided tour and walk around with it. But I think it was made in the early 2000s, and they don't print them anymore. And because I've asked them, do you have copies of it? Because when the Worlds were here, I wanted to be able to have them. And it costs a lot of money for me to print it, and it's not my brochure. And I said, do you guys have copies of it? Oh, we won't print that till September.
Well, and I.
I
think
said,
about-
okay.
Yeah, and you've got your senior groups and,
Yes.
you know, places, you could start at Campbell Center.
Yeah.
And if there was a Thursday afternoon walk through the historical district every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And somebody came and, you know, and it was just happened all the time, and it's not just me
Yeah.
finding my own group.
Yeah.
It's like I could show up and know there's gonna be other people there.
On all of this work, we heard a lot about programming, and I think like what you're saying, like events, programming that's regular.
Yeah.
Every week, and you can like every Thursday, I know it's gonna happen, but then also like one like annual events.
Right.
And like, I mean, we heard over and over, people want to do the Eugene celebration. And so, you know, everything costs money, so you just gotta figure out what your priorities are.
But I think when we were saying what goes first, I think that's, what do they call that, infrastructure? It's almost like getting people down here is kind of the most important thing.
Mhm.
And
there's
once
a lot
they're
of people
here, they're
that,
not
you know,
afraid to be down here.
And there's a lot of people that don't know what's here because they haven't been here.
Yeah.
Because there is stuff down here. We just need to
I
get
know
people.
people who are like, I haven't been downtown since the 70s. I don't have any intention of ever going.
My husband, he's always talking about the record store that used to be down on Willamette and how he'd ride his bike down there and stuff, you know, before the road went through, and, you know, that's just what they did as kids, they went down there.
They, when I was in sixth grade, my sixth grade class, we had a field trip to the mall.
The downtown mall.
Yeah, we went to the mall.
Yeah.
And we wandered around, and we had to find things in different buildings. I went up and down so many elevators that day.
Those things.
I went to bed that night and I thought,
I know,
I'm moving. I thought I was moving.
I'm levitating.
So it is 7:30.
Is it Sessions? What's the hall been closed?
Sessions.
Something going, not that I ever went there, but I was just thinking. is
That place can't hold anything.
Emily, we might have to have one of our downtown meetings at the Cuban, like.
Yes, no, I liked it.
We're way overdue.
We're overdue, we're
We need to
overdue.
have one at, what's the guy's name that's in the old chocolate place?
Oh, the nutrition place.
Yeah.
Yeah, one nutrition.
Oh, Ken. Ken,
Yeah,
yes.
he's come to a couple of our meetings.
Yeah,
We
Ken's
need to-
really
we
good
need to
guy.
rope him in a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I went and saw him right after that. I don't know,
He'd
he
be a
made me
good-
some
he'd be-
cheap thing.
Oh, yeah, he
Good
does the
steering
cheese,
committee.
protein donut. and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's got space to eat, right?
Yeah,
No, I would love to. I donated a gift certificate to him. So it's 7:36.
Yeah.
Um,
but we want to just
It's a
say
Beetle
talk
bug.
for hours.
Or
It's so, you know, it's interesting, it's like.
Box elder, it's a box elder.
Box elder,
It's
thank you.
positive about this, it's just,
There's so many good
and it's like, how, yeah, like, it's funny, I have, I like working at Jen, it's not just my job, you know, I think I like having a city center where there's multiple things to do, and I would purposely shop downtown or going someplace else, and I won't buy it off Amazon, I would go to the bookstore and buy it back. And there's a lady who used to be my dental, she was like, and so she's like that person that I keep in my mind of, like, why would they have put up that box for me downtown? That was like, I keep her in my mind.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and so my, this fall when Hamilton was at the health center, we went and we had pickup worked really awkwardly because of something that happened, and we ended up getting a ride basically in front of the One Vision. Like we walked from the health center to the One Vision, and then we drove all the way down William Street to go home. And it was amazing, actually, downtown was really hopping, right? And I don't know that Sunday night. And there was like these little bursts of activity. There was drumming going on at Kesey Square. That I don't think I was gonna hang out with those people, but I didn't feel threatened by those people. They were having a nice time, and it was really fun drumming. The bar that's just north of there, was hopping there, and it was funny, these little spots of hopping here.
And it was funny because I did see a lot of restaurants pull on that theme of Hamilton's in town, working to take advantage of it. I did see a lot.
I asked him, it's a big deal, I think it's sold out every.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it is, it matters to those restaurants, it absolutely does, and so that's my cultural services, I think is managing the whole thing very differently than it used to be, in a way that's very, that will bring people downtown. And so I think it's like, there's no silver bullet, it is public, it's the police, it's cultural services with programming, and it's figuring out how to improve physical public spaces, it's getting some kind of dog park so that there's services for all the new residences that we're having. And it's not gonna happen, it'll take years.
And we
for
were-
positive to happen.
We went 10 steps forward, 9 steps back.
Yeah.
And now we're 1 step, 2 again.
Let's just pray there's no more steps back.
Yes.
I do want to, and this just reminds me of something today, to end on something positive. I was talking to someone, I had a Zoom meeting, anyway, work and stuff, big thing, anyway, and he lives in Santa Clara, and I said, I live downtown, and I'm just remembering what he said, oh my gosh, that must be so awesome, there's so much stuff, and you start listening, there's like music, there's like, and I was kind of thinking, what downtown are you thinking of? I just thought of that as positive, that he just like his image. When I
That's
said
great.
I live downtown, it was like, oh my gosh, you're the luckiest person in the world, and he started listening on that, so anyway, there
Well,
are people out there that do.
Santa Clara is kind of quiet.
I can say that.
Yes.
That may be why
Yeah,
it's a mecca.
it's getting better, but it is kind of quiet. So our next meeting is on Zoom, and I will send the link out. I believe it's the 28th of December 20.
Yeah, we're doing it after.
Yeah, it's after Christmas. So I will send the link out. Michael wanted to know how people felt about playing the national anthem and or saluting the flag. Is that what your point was? At the meeting, how people felt.
Yeah, just like baseball games and soccer games, they play it before the beginning of their games. Like the Emeralds played, soccer game people was playing football games. That'd be a great idea, but I don't know if the committee would support that. But that's just an idea I'm throwing out there.
So we will talk about it in January or December. How's that? We'll put it out there and let people think about it, and then we'll talk about it in December. Michael also wants people to know he wants to be vice president again.
Vice chair.
Vice chair, yes.
And vice
Mhm.
president.
And vice president.
Yes, definitely would like to rerun again.
Yes, he wants to do that again.
Oh,
So, so
Okay, we'll talk about that in.
December or January.
Well,
So,
awesome to see everybody. Bye,
Yay.
guys.
I get one.
Thanks for showing up. It's great to see you all. Have a good one.
all right.
Oh, I get one last thing. If I could add one last thing.
We're kind of over time, dear.